Hi, I'm Cindy from BeDownSquare.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a cute little bralette. It's perfect by itself depending on where your competitions are and obviously your bust size, but it also is really cute to go under a dress that might be a little sheer or see-through, and then that way you still have coverage. I would definitely always recommend lining it, but this is a really cute little look, and even if you want to just make one for yourself just to wear under your clothes, this just might be the video for you.
So for the lace bra, there's a few things you're going to need. You're going to need the elastic that will go underneath. You're going to need whatever you want to use for straps, and in this case I'm going to use two straps. You want it to be elasticy so that it will stretch and move with you. As you know, most bras have that. And then I've got some lace trim, and I like the scalloped edge on here. So what I've done is taken a bra that I already have, clean, new, obviously, but just take one of yours. It's just you. Know that you're going to take, first thing I want to do is measure this around. Now, there's a few things you can do. You can cut, tie. Think about how you want to close that. If you want to tie it, make sure it's long enough that you can tie. In this case, we're going to sew it shut because it's elastic and it'll stretch. So I've taken the pieces of lace and I've cut them down. I figured out how long does it need to be so that it can meet the bottom of where I want and the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it on the top with the scalloped edge. I'm going to pin this one down here with the scalloped edge. Then I'm going to take the other piece I have and I'm going to go the opposite direction. So it gives a scalloped edge on everything. I'm going to go to the outside now of the bra and pin it down. So what I'm going to do is down the center, meet these up. I'm going to take pins and just pin that down so it gives the correct curve. Now, if you use a padded bra, you're going to need to put padding inside the lace bra. And then make sure it curves all the way down. So as you can see, it's nice and snug on both sides, but gives the curve. I'm going to adjust this one a little, otherwise we'll have a weird gap there. And see how that has that shape. I'm going to go ahead and take scissors, carefully cut down so I'm not dealing with all kinds of extra fabric. And then I will end up marking this. I'm going to do it with a Sharpie so that you can see right where the pins go on all sides. You won't want to mark it with a Sharpie. You can like put a label on it so you know right and left, and then you'll do the reverse for the other side. So this one I would put right, it'll be left, outside. So a left and an O. So I know left side of my body, but the outside layer. And left, inside. Now, if you mark it with a piece of paper and a safety pin, that'll make it easy. And so that's that. So now I've marked this, the length I need. I have the straps, the length I need. I'll just go ahead and show you real quick on here. So I'm going to do a loop on these. I'm going to cut them and I'm going to give it about 4 extra inches. You'll want to test each one before you permanently sew it down, like you would sew it into place here, sew the back, and then try it on with the straps. Make sure it fits good. So that is how you make the pattern of the lace bra. Now I'm going to show you how to duplicate it on the other side. Remember, do not write if it's the actual lace you're going to use and you don't have extra. I always have extra, so it's easy for me to go ahead and do that. Or like I said, I'll chalk it, or I can go ahead and put a label or a safety pin with a note so I know. Because otherwise, once you take them off, it gets confusing what's right, what's left. So that's how you make that pattern. So here's where I pinned the bra and then where I marked it, and I went ahead and cut it so it gave me just the right amount to sew. So we know we marked this one as the left, which means we need to make a reverse. So I will set that one. Let's give ourselves a little bit more room. Pay attention to where the scallop ends and begins also. And then the other piece there. I flipped it upside down so you get a right and a left, a mirrored image of each one. And here, let's see, slide that down there. And then you just go ahead and cut that out. And then the same, let's save on some fabric here. The same on this one here. Oh, okay, that happens sometimes, but no worries. So you just lay it back down. You'll probably want to pin it. And then that way, we'll pull this out. That's the left. There we go. They will match up just like that. So you have a right and a left. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take these, pin it at the scalloped edge. Probably given a little too much space on this one, but we'll go ahead and repin it going all the way down, following that same curve so we can sew it and end up with that triangle. So let's go on to sewing. So I have pinned the bra so that I can sew it. And this is the first one, the one I actually wrote on. So we're going to go from here. You're going to want to be careful at the edge of the lace. So I'm going to use a straight stitch for now, but I suggest you use a stretch stitch or an overlock. So I'm going to do this straight just because it saves a lot of time. So I'm going to get those corners together. I'm going to sew forward a little, back, and what will happen sometimes is the lace wants to catch in the foot. So what I'm going to do, because it's so delicate, is I'm just going to barely touch those threads and feed it through. There we go. Once we get it through and it's not tangled up, we know we're good. Follow this, whatever seam allowance you allowed yourself, follow that. I'm sewing it in white so you could see it. And you want to remember to never stretch because you'll get a weird puckering. Just keep it taut. And when you get to the end, there we go. So you pull it out. So there's something that you can do now if, I would definitely stretch it. Oh, so I'm going to go back over this spot that, there we go. Let's cut all those threads off. So see how it's now like this. I would try it on at that point. Make sure that curve fits you good. Something you can do, it's up to you. If you want to reinforce it, what you can do is open up this seam right here all the way. I would press it, but then what you could do is go in if everything fits okay. Otherwise, it is impossible to fix this after that. You could sew just a line on the right and the left of that original seam. Now, I would sew it in the same color. I'm just doing a short one so you could see. See right there, it's just short. Do it in the same color so if it's off a little, you won't notice. And then you'd have another seam over here. That'll give it strength so that won't rip up. So that's really a nice little detail that you don't have to do, but it just keeps this seam nice and flat and not lumpy. So what we would do next is sew the other side, but for time's sake, I'm gonna not do that, and I'm gonna show you. Now we have, I wanna do the double straps. So I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to go to this point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag that. A nice zigzag on it. Keep it nice and secure. You could separate it a little, and then I would go a little further down and do the same thing. And if it's the same thread, you don't notice it. You can separate it a little so you see that it is like that, or you can keep these together. If for any reason your scallops are a little off, go back in and hand stitch it just so you have that perfect little V right there. And then what we would do next is we would take the bra front. This is the bottom elastic that I chose to use. So what we would do is I would determine how wide I wanted this to be, which we've already done. So what I'm going to do is, because this is elastic, I can just put the right sides together If you can do a clip, it's even better. So put those right sides together and sew it. Again, you want it nice and secure. And then what you can do is open this up and then top stitch this. If it's in the same color, you can't see it, zigzag right across. And that'll give it a lot of security. We're going fast, so it's a little messy. If I was actually doing this one for me to wear, I'd have that nice and clean and flat, but that makes it secure so it's not going to break apart. Now the front of the bra, I'm going to mark with a line. So I folded the back, I fold it exactly in half. This is the center front now. So the question is, how much space do we want in the bra? On the sample that I showed you, we had about an inch on each side. So what I would do is take it down. Let's measure it on here so you can see it. Let's measure it with chalk, an inch down. Then what I would do is fold. So see how that's marked there? This is the center line then. I would want to go ahead and make sure that that line continued on the same side here, just like that. Then what I would do is start the bottom of the bra on that line. Make sure you start, like if the scallop, when you cut it, the scallops are the same. So you have that same spot coming up so you don't look lopsided. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pin that there. I'm going to make sure this is the same amount of stretch because you don't want one stretching more than the other. If anything, you want the bottom just to be a little bit snugger than the lace top, and then I would pin it there so that it's nice and flat. Then I would go and I would pin on this other side so that I could fold it in half, make sure that it ends and starts at the same spot. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this. I'm going to zigzag it back and forth, get a nice good zigzag on there, pull that pin out. You want to make sure this lace doesn't come out the bottom. I want it smack dab in the middle. Let's go with a much longer stitch while we're sewing this so that it's easier to show you. And use this thumb to kind of tug it a little and move it in or out just to make sure you end up on the same thing. And I'm going to stretch it as I go. Otherwise, you don't want it to be lumpy, but you also don't want it not to stretch. Use the thumb as a guide. So if something happens and it flips over, just stop, fix it, and move on. And same here. And back stitch. So I'll show you from the back side. There's the back side, and if we're using the same fabric, you wouldn't even see, and then this whole thing will stretch when it goes on around the bust line. If it's not stretchy, you'll need a clip to get into it, but it is really that easy to make the bra. And all you do then is on these straps, you would pin where you want them on the back, and voila, there you have your own made lace bralette.
Thank you for watching our video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure and click here to subscribe because we're going to have some amazing DIY videos coming out. And if you want to get our free complete dance costume DIY guide, click right here or go to bdancewear.com/DIY guide. And lastly, if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, please leave it in the comments below. Thanks again for watching our video, and remember, be original, be colorful, be dancewear.com.